All right, for this extension, we are going to look at the area of composite figures. Okay, so what that means is we don't have a general formula for the specific shape. We are going to cut it up and find smaller areas and add them together. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-sided shape. We don't have the formula for that. We've got 4-sided quadrilaterals and trapezoid, or parallelograms and trapezoids, and we have 3-sided, which are triangles. So what I would notice is that here I can divide this across, and I've basically turned it into a triangle and a rectangle. So I need the base and height of my rectangle, and I need the base and height of my triangle. So for our rectangle, we have a base of 18 and a height of 12, so we're doing 18 times 12, which when I plug that into my calculator, I get 216. Okay? And then for our triangle, we got to be careful. There is no measure for our base right here. But when I look, I see that the entire length across here is 18. This portion right here is 4, so what's left over? 18 minus 4 tells us that this length across is 14. Now for our height, a lot of people want to write 18, but 18 is talking about the entire height. We just want this pink highlighted portion. So I got to think about, what does this measure equal? Well, it's going to be the same as the opposite side of the rectangle. So if this side is 12, this is 12, which means if the whole length is 18, minus 12 leaves us with a height of 6. So for our triangle, we're going to do our base of 14 times our height of 6, and don't forget, triangles divide by 2. So I plug that in. 14 times 6 is 84. 84 divided by 2 is 42. So for our total area, we are adding these two together, 216 plus 42, to get a complete total area of 258 centimeters squared. All right, let's look at number 2. This one's a little funkier looking. You got to be careful with it. I can clearly see a dividing line right here, which on the left, we've got a rectangle. On the right, I'm going to be careful. We have a trapezoid. We've got our 2 parallel sides and a perpendicular height. So for our rectangle, we have a base of 8 and a height of 10. When I multiply those two together, I get 80. For the trapezoid, this base is going to be the same as the opposite side of the rectangle, so it's going to be 10. We have our base right here of 7, so we've got our 2 bases. We need our height. The whole length is 12, not this portion. For our rectangle, remember this part's going to be 8, so 12 minus 8 leaves us with 4 left over. So for our triangle, we're going to do, for our trapezoid, we're going to do our formula, which is 10 plus 7, our 2 bases, times the perpendicular height of 4, divided by 2. So 10 plus 7 is 17 times 4 divided by 2. 17 times 4 is 68. Divided by 2 is going to be 34. So for our total area, we're going to do 80 plus 34, which equals 114 centimeters squared. All right, let's look at number 3. This one's a little funky, and you could do it a couple different ways. So I'm not gonna do it this way, but I could draw a line right here, and we've got a rectangle, and we got 2 triangles. So we have 3 shapes to do. Instead, what I can actually do is I can kind of set up my rectangle like this. And now what I have is I have a rectangle, and then I'm gonna take out this white part because that white part's not included in the shape. So, looking at my rectangle, I have a base here and a height. That's our entire rectangle going all the way over even into this not included space. So we're doing 22 times 11, which is 242. For our triangle, we have a base length here and a perpendicular height. Our base length is the right side of the rectangle, so it's also going to have that height of 11. So I'm going to do 11 times our triangle height of 5 divided by 2. 11 times 5 is 55. Divided by 2 equals 27.5. So now here's the difference. For the other ones we were adding because it was taking up the entire shape. But this non-shaded area is not going to be included. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to subtract the 27.5 from 242. So 242 minus 27.5 gives me 214.5 yards squared. All right, number 4. I see that I've got a rectangle, and I'm going to highlight the base and height of my rectangle, and let's calculate that first. So I've got a base of 12 times a height of 5, which equals 60. And then we have a half circle. So let's calculate as if it was a full complete circle. Remember, for area of circle, we just need the radius, right? Because the area of a circle is pi r squared. So we know that the entire length across is 5, right? So the diameter is 5. We need the radius, which is half of 5, so 2.5. So I'm going to plug in for my circle pi r squared. So pi 3.14 times our radius of 2.5 squared. When I plug that into my calculator, I get 19.625. That would be for a complete circle, but we only have half of a circle. So I'm going to cut this in half by dividing it by 2, and I get 9.8125. So maybe about 9.8. So to calculate our total area, we're going to take the 60 plus the 9.8, and we get 69.8 inches squared. All right, one more, and then we did a little bit different. Your practice is going to start on the bottom of this page here. So this is an interesting looking shape. Where I'm going to divide it is right here, so that we have a half circle and we have a triangle. So I am first going to look at the triangle. We have a base of our triangle and a height. Okay. So for the base, since there's no total length, we just have this part. But what we need to remember about a circle is that the distance across from the center is the same. That's the radius. So if the radius here is 4.6, that tells us that this distance right here is 4.6. For the height, again, it's tricky. There's no other measure, no other vertical measure to subtract. But as I just said, no matter what direction we're going, in a circle, it's all going to be the same as the radius, 4.6. So that tells me that this part right here is 4.6, which means if I do 13.4 minus 4.6, that tells me that the height of the prism, or the height of the triangle, is 8.8, because that's what's left over. So let's calculate our triangle. We're going to do our base of 4.6 times our height of 8.8 divided by 2. So we are doing 4.6 times 8.8, and we get 40.48 divided by 2 equals 20.24. For our triangle, for our circle, we're going to calculate as if it was just a full circle, and then we will cut it in half. So pi times our radius of 4.6 squared. So I'm plugging that into my calculator, and I get 66.424. So for our total area, I am adding 20.24 plus 66.424, and I get a total area of 86.6824. I'm going to round that to about 86.7 yards squared. And you can move on to the practice.